Commissioner Zuber, will you call the roll, please?
For Commissioner Eggenberger?
Here.
Sorry, I
Kinda
went
threw
out of
me
order.
off.
Commissioner Bennett?
Here.
off guard.
Commissioner Perkins?
Here.
Commissioner Acharya?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham Hudak?
Evening.
And Commissioner Ocon is not here, and Commissioner Engel is not here, but Commissioner Zuber is here, and Chairman Green
I
is.
am here.
Is here.
Okay, and we have our planning staff tonight. The lone Patrick Sloan. What happened to Jeff? Jeff's not here tonight, huh?
Not tonight, but he'll be back next time.
Okay, all right, no, well, welcome. And welcome to the audience, and welcome to people who will ultimately watch us on TV. We did meet last August 5th. Are there minutes to approve for August 5th? Do I hear a motion?
I would love to make a motion to approve the minutes of August 5th.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Zuber and support by Commissioner Bennett to approve those minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, we have an agenda tonight consisting of two items, one public hearing and one site plan. Anything else from staff?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Anything from the commission to add? Do I hear a motion to approve the stated agenda?
To approve.
Support.
All right, got a motion to approve by Commissioner Zuber and support by Commissioner Perkins. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, let's get right into it. Our first agenda item for the night is a public hearing for the Grandview Estates South, where we're considering a PDD amendment, amendment number 2, and preliminary site plan. So two things are going on there. This property is located east of Bar Road, between Geddes and Mott. Patrick, could you tell us more?
Sure. The proposal is for a plan development district amendment called Grandview South. And the development is a proposed amendment to Grandview Estates, which is farther north. And the proposed development would be an amendment to that PDD. So rather than go through the entire PDD process with both preliminary and final, this would be going through the amendment process where there's still a public hearing, but there's just the public hearing at the Planning Commission level once for the amendment. Grandview South, which is located south of Grandview Estates and just north of Mott Road, is 222 detached condominiums on 76.59 net acres, which is a density of 2.9 units per acre. It's currently located in the R3 district, which is a district with a density of about 3 units per acre. The access to Grandview Estates to the north is through Cranston Road and Bingham Road. So up on the screen here, there's two connecting roads. To the north there, that aerial, that's Grandview Estates, and it's currently undergoing development. And then Grandview South, which is in the watercolor, that would extend through those two roads and into the development of those 222 units. And then if we go farther south, Grandview South does not have a separate access onto Bar Road, but would come down all the way to Mott Road to the south. Part of the proposed definite benefits for this PDD is that the applicant is proposing to pave that segment of Mott Road from the development entrance of Grandview South eastward to Denton Road. It's about a 1,100-foot-long segment, and they have a traffic study that they've also submitted with their application. In addition to the proposed paving of Mott Road for the definite benefit, the applicant is also proposing to preserve 31.6% of the site as open space, which exceeds the 25% open space minimum. Also preserving about 400 trees that are either protected or landmark trees, and providing 2 one-year memberships to the summit for each of the 222 units. Again, the property is currently zoned R3, and the proposed density for the planned development district is consistent with that R3 density. Some of the items in our review letter for this case, which is dated for the meeting September 9th. One of the items that comes up in the second page of our letter is the traffic impact. And the applicant has prepared a traffic study. The applicant has a traffic engineer that that produced a traffic impact study, and it projected the average daily traffic on Mott Road to be 870 trips. Currently, we have a consultant with the township, and a traffic engineering consultant that's reviewing the traffic impact study, and we expect the report back within the next couple of days. And one of the major concerns that we had was that, depending on the model within the report, the traffic on Mott Road could exceed 1,000 trips per day based on how the model and the distribution of trips is. So while that review is being while the traffic impact study is under review with the township's traffic engineer, the applicant has already proposed paving that segment of Mott Road. And specifically, the traffic where it'd be higher would be east of Mott Road, because a lot of that traffic would be coming to and from Denton Road. So regardless of the results of the township transportation engineer review, the applicant has already proposed to pave that segment of road. So in terms of whether it gets to 1,000, whether it's required, it's already proposed by the applicant. So that's one large concern that's been addressed. For the schedule of regulations and modifications, the proposed front yard setbacks for Grandview South will be reduced from 25 feet to 20 feet from the road. The rear yard setbacks will be 35 feet, except for a proposed rear yard setback of 30 feet for units 279 and units 391 through 395. And then there are a few units that are proposed to have a reduced wetland setback because of the proximity of wetlands to those units. In our review letter, we noted that the plans in the PD agreement must include a complete and accurate schedule of regulations and modifications. Since we had prepared our letter last week, the applicant had submitted revised plans that had addressed the concerns in our letter. So those schedule of regulations and modifications have been added to the plans and to the PD agreement. For the access management, we had recommended having connecting sidewalks between the west side of Cranston Road and the east side of Bar Road to connect the development to Bar Road. We had suggested 2 areas, and in one of those areas, the applicant has proposed a sidewalk from the development to Bar Road, which is south of Unit 277. So in that, say, lower left-hand corner there will now be a sidewalk connecting the development to Bar Road. I think I might have said Mott Road, but it'll be to Bar Road. For the lighting, some of the suggestions that we've made for the lighting have been made on the revised plans by the applicant. So when they come back for final site plan review, those corrections will be on the plans that you see. These are the plans with the preliminary site plan review, but before the plans go to the township board for preliminary review, those changes will have been made there. So this will be a cleaner review. The last 2 items that I want to mention are the architecture and the road names. For the architecture, the applicant is proposing to have the same PDD agreement conditions and modifications as Grandview Estates to the north. In Grandview Estates, each model has at least 35% masonry, and the corner unit side elevations which face the street must be bricked to the top of the first floor and include windows on the street side so that there's not a blank wall to the street. And this same condition has been proposed for Grandview South. There will also be the same 3 house models proposed that are in Grandview Estates, and that is the Abbeville, the Bayport 2, and the Bedrock. And the last item to note is that 2 of the road names have been changed to not match or be similar to 2 other road names that are in the township. So most everything within our letter has been corrected in the revised plans, but of course the revised plans are not on the agenda tonight, so the conditions would be the same in our letter. The proposal before the Planning Commission is both to consider the approval of the Grandview South Plan Development District Amendment and to review the preliminary site plan. And so our recommendation is approval of the Plan Development District Amendment and approval of the preliminary site plan, subject to the applicant revising the plans in accordance to the recommendations in our letter. That concludes our report, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Patrick. Is the project representative here today? If you'd like to come
Mr.
up.
Chairman, I'd like to move to open the public hearing.
All right, we've got a motion to open the public hearing by Commissioner Zuber and support by Commissioner Perkins. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome.
Good evening. Joe Scorer with Pulte Homes of Michigan. Obviously Patrick did a very thorough summary, so I'll just say that we are very excited about this development. It is the identical product and plans that we're currently offering in Grandview South, or currently Grandview Estates. It caters to the exact same consumer group and demographic that we're currently catering to in Grandview North. It is the empty nester, the retiree, the move-down buyer that wants to come out of their large home where they raise their family and move down to a smaller home, a smaller lot, a smaller footprint, where they can have a master bedroom on the first floor, essentially single-level living, and where they can take advantage of a no-maintenance or low-maintenance community. That's exactly what we're offering with this community, we're Grandview North, or current Grandview Estates, has been very successful. We're very well received, and we expect the same for the proposed PDD amendment tonight.
Okay.
Any questions? I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, I appreciate that. If you could stay kind of close by, just in case we do. We're going to start with the audience and find out if anyone has anything at all. If you want to come on up. And we do ask that you do kind of keep it brief, but we ask that you also fill out one of our forms, okay, so that they can put it on the record, and then you state your name and address and what your concerns are. Hi.
Hi, my name is Sandra Miller. I live at 4670 Bingham in Grandview Estates. First of all, I'd like to say hi to an old neighbor of mine, Greg Green. I do congratulate Canton for having further development. I'd like to see that. I've been in Canton many, many years. I have some concerns over the development of Grandview South, just in terms of traffic. I just want to ask some questions. I'm not clear from this picture because we've never seen any,
You bring up, do you need the entire thing of the north and the south?
I live on Bingham, which would be that right up there, and it's coming down here. Is it
okay.
my understanding that that will continue Bingham all the way down?
Right. It's a continuation of the road. Mhm.
My concern in that, and from my position as a former police officer of many years with the state of Michigan, is traffic and speed. As you know, these are private roads, so we are not, privileged to having any type of continued enforcement for speed or traffic violations on private roads. That being said, we know what happens when they become private roads. That, to me, to allow people to come all the way down through Grandview Estates, what you're calling north now, we did not know that, but coming all the way down creates
Straightaway.
the opportunity for a drag
Right.
way there. Without there being some other way, I think there's going to be an entrance off of Mott Road. I don't see one off of Denton. To me, people who want to avoid Denton, as that traffic is becoming more congested, could also seize the opportunity then to come through there. I just don't see that being very good in the future in terms of enforcement or speed. That's my concern. I'm glad to see that there's more development. Right now where I live on Bingham, that thing's a field there, although coming from Nebraska, I like fields. It also means that there's nothing stopping the wind, so I don't mind development there. But it's the traffic that concerns me.
Okay.
And I don't understand why I don't know why there couldn't be somewhere in there an entrance off of Bar Road too into that large of a community that's being planned.
Well, there is the entrance on the north estate side from Bar Road, right?
But that would also then bring them down either Cranston, and I guess, I don't know if anybody's in here from Cranston, but I would express the same concern for the people living on Cranston, that it's a straight shot down then.
Commissioner Zuber, did you have a
Yeah, I was
point
just
to
going to
make?
ask Patrick to bring up, it's page 23 in our packet that shows the entire subdivision.
Oh, sure.
The one part of it's grayed out, but you can at least. Yeah, sheet 3, sorry. Next one. There you go. It's a little hard to see, but you can at least get a sense of the overall. So there is an exit from the older part, if you scroll back out, or zoom back
Yeah,
out.
zoom back out.
Okay.
I mean, it's hard to see, but there is an exit to each of the main roads. There's one at the bottom on the left, near,
But 3 are from the north section, and only
Yeah.
one from the south.
yeah.
So this is in the south section?
No, the grayed out part that you're nearest is
On
the
left.
north section.
That's
So north
the
is to the
section you're in
left.
right now.
Right.
So there's a,
That, they would come in there off of Bard Road,
yeah.
but they would go to Cranston and go all the way down
Is Cranston the southmost? Yeah.
south. So it would create the same type of situation, is what I'm saying. If there's not an entrance farther south off of Bar Road into such a large development.
Yeah, it's a good point, that you created quite a long straightaway there of that road,
And there's no enforcement.
and, yeah, unless you call specifically on a private road situation.
Right.
Could you step up? I want to ask you something, because it brings to mind a design possibility in that instance. Do you see how the one road there, I don't have a pointer to how it kind of cuts down, right in the middle at the top? Okay, kind of cuts down and then comes back up again. You see how there's a little jog there? Is there a possibility that where the two roads can meet, that you could create that kind of a little change so it's not quite a straightaway? Because I live in a subdivision where we've got a road like that it actually does cut down some of the speed.
Yeah. That's a traffic calming device.
Let me get up, and since I don't have a pointer.
Yeah, we can't use any laser pointers with these TVs.
Someone who's coming from here and wanting to get over here has to make a little bit of a jog to come through, right? They're not going to be running it. I agree with that. I agree. So I'm wondering where the old road ends, the new road begins, if that design could be made to curve a little bit. I don't know.
Can you zoom back out, Patrick? I don't think those speed bumps have their own issues.
There's several points that you made. We stubbed into the raw land, so there was always planned for future development. That we also stubbed to the east. We have no access to Denton Road from this particular development, but we did stub a road to the raw land, and if there is future development off of Denton Road, it will connect into the subdivision.
Scroll back out, or zoom back out, Patrick. Sorry to keep directing you.
Oh, that's
but
okay.
It just makes it.
There's into a parcel that has access off of Denton Road. We currently do not have access.
What is the stone?
So any future development they'd be obligated to extend their road to this road.
Right, to that road. But we're not talking about that at this point. What we're talking about is up at the top there, and the other road at the bottom. We've created a scenario where you got an extended road, and, you know, it could slow people down in there if you had some sort of a jog. I'm not in favor of speed bumps per se, but just something design-wise that causes people to slow down.
So maybe just up above that unit 265 or unit 259, if it could jog a little like the other street. So
Patrick, is that something that can be
Yeah.
taken up in the?
at either of those two
in the
intersections in the
site
middle.
plan, design issue?
Well, at this point, we are also at the preliminary site plan review stage, and things can change between preliminary site plan and final site plan, as they can change between the planning commission meeting and the board meeting within preliminary site plan. So it's possible. It would just be more of an engineering question in terms of what can be done.
Right. 'Cause I would like to move on to other issues. I think that this is an issue, but it's one where I think there might be a resolution if they put their heads together and see what they can come up with, if that would be satisfactory.
I think it's something that we'll take a look at and we'll consider.
Okay.
I would hope so.
Thank you.
Thank
you for your
you.
comments.
Thanks.
I believe the gentleman down here, did you have something? Oh, okay, you're satisfied. Sir, come on up.
And if I may, just really quickly, there was a previous version of the Grandview South plans that did have a road going out to Bar Road, and we had asked them to remove that road to Bar Road out of concerns of additional traffic on a gravel road,
Yeah.
having two access points to the Grandview overall development onto Bar Road and the condition of Bar Road. So we had asked them to remove that entrance from Bar Road to pave Mott Road and keep the traffic going that way. In our discussions with the fire department, they didn't have any objection to removing the one access from Bar Road because there's another one up in Grandview Estates. So I just wanted to put that out there since we were discussing it.
Thank you for that. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name's Nate Martin. I'm a property owner at 49720 Mott Road, which is butting up to where this new development would take place. So there's two concerns I have. One is actually public. Despite whether they pave Mott Road or not, Denton Road backs up really far every single day. And to get off of Mott, if there's a lot of traffic coming off Mott Road, to get into Denton Road to get on Michigan Ave, that's gonna
Does it back up, which way is it back up, going towards?
backs up north on Denton
On
from
Denton.
Michigan Ave.
Going towards the south. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, north of Michigan Ave.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah. So that's the one public thing. The other one I would have is more personal, and I'm worried about, right now I own 5 acres in Canton that's very secluded, nothing in the backyard. And now along the property line, there's gonna be, I think, 8 or 10 condos in the backyard. So I'm worried about property values for me, because right now I'm able to sell it as a secluded home in a great neighborhood, great area to be. And also it's like a huntable property right now. With this new development, it would not be with any other single-family owner. It would stay that way.
Right.
So it does match the guidelines for that. And that's something I do as well. So that's the more personal concern. I do agree with the traffic statement. That'd be good to do a traffic study. But just wanted to get up here and say, I know Pulte's they're the bigger fish in town and they bring a lot to town, but I'm worried about my personal interest in that.
Yeah, and we understand that. We get faced with that a lot because Canton, was a farming community, and it was a basically undeveloped community, and a lot of the development has taken a lot of the open area where people got used to, but you do understand that the nature of property ownership requires that we respect that, and you can't control somebody else's property. They can't control yours that much, so.
Understood, but this is
Yeah,
a zoning
it's
change
sometimes
for
hard
the city.
to make those adjustments when you've lived with it for so long, but we have to kind of weigh both sides. So appreciate your
thank you.
comments on that, though. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, I move to close the public hearing.
All right, we have a motion to close the public hearing at 7:24 by Commissioner Zuber and support by Commissioner Bennett. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to go to the commission now. We're going to start with Commissioner Bennett.
My only concern is, is it Cranston Road, on the south of what we're looking at right now, the bottom?
Yes.
That would be my only concern, is creating a straightaway for speeding. We have, we've seen a couple of those in different areas in the township, and it does create kind of a speedway for people, especially if you're trying to get to work, get home. People are in a hurry. So I do hope that the developer can, kind of come up with some way to have a traffic calming measure there. I'd really like to see that. I think that the people living along that road would be mighty dissatisfied if that was left that way. So hopefully something can be figured out with that.
Okay. Commissioner Eggenberger?
Thank you. I think that this looks pretty interesting. As I've learned from being on this commission, that apparently I am an active adult.
It's better than not being active.
Yeah, better
Yeah,
than
that's
being
right.
an
I
inactive
fit the
adult.
stereotype. So I appreciate,
No, you fit the qualifications.
thank you, yeah.
I think you do too, Julia.
So I appreciate somehow all these things going on, reminding me that at some point I won't be able to walk upstairs. But I thought it was interesting that they were offering the year's membership to the summit and the pickle game, I don't know what it's called.
I didn't hear pickle.
Good.
That was part of the original Grandview PDD. We made a capital contribution of $100,000, which I think went to the pickleball courts, and there were some renovations to the summit. This is purely up to 2 memberships per household to the summit in the park.
Okay, but
Yeah.
no more pickle stuff.
I think it's already there.
Okay. I'm
Go get
not
pickled
quite there
now.
yet to understand what it is, but,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, I think it
How's
looks
that
like it's got some nice greenery and keeping it looking clean, but I agree with everyone, and we need to make sure that there's no racing through, because active adults, we can get a little crazy.
That's the point. And I don't want to interrupt you. That was the point I was going to make. You know, these are primarily, and we've sold almost 70% of the homes in Grandview. This is primarily a 1-person, 2-person household. I don't think we have any school-aged children. I could be wrong, but you know, we just have. These are again active adult, empty nesters. So you don't see a lot of trips associated with a single-family conventional community, and generally the traffic is a little calmer, I think, in these communities.
So what's being called north is a single family, and then the south is condos?
No. Well, actually, there's practically speaking, there's no difference. The only difference is in the north, it's really an ownership distinction. In the north, they own the lot, and in the south, or the proposed community, they own the unit, the 4 walls, inside the 4 walls, and the entire HOA, all the unit owners own a fractional interest in the land. But practically speaking, the HOA takes care of the maintenance, the snow plowing, the grass, the landscaping, so there's really no difference in the way that they're maintained.
Well, except that in the north, because they're considered site condos, the homeowner does have a different responsibility level than what we're talking about tonight, which is strictly condo and just total the unit ownership, but the association owns the exterior, correct?
So whether you're in north or south, the unit owner is responsible for the home, the roof. They're responsible for maintenance and repairs of the unit itself.
Even the condominiums we're talking about tonight?
Yes, even in current Grandview.
No, I'm talking about what we're talking about tonight. I thought it was a strict condominium arrangement where you pay your dues and the association, the homeowners association, takes care of the exterior, the roof,
No.
the grounds.
No, it is, they take care of the maintenance, the exterior, not the exterior of the home, the exterior in terms of snow, grass, landscaping. The unit owner takes care of the house, exactly like what they're doing in Grandview North.
So who cuts the grass?
The HOA,
Everybody's grass.
that's correct.
And the snow is done by the HOA, but if you need siding or repair on the,
It's on the unit owner throughout the entire Grandview community, north and south.
interesting, okay.
So is there one HOA or 2 separate HOAs?
There will be, we haven't considered that yet. It will most likely, it's a good question. We're gonna have to take a look at that. We've done it both ways, where there's 2 separate condos, or we essentially aggregated the 2.
Commissioner Perkins?
Well, I would have to agree with Commissioner Bennett about the straightaway on this track. There might be a lot of, what are we called?
Active adults.
Active adults. And I would never admit to speeding on the record. But I also have children, and when I'm in this community, I'll have grandchildren that can drive. And I find that they're reckless. And so we're going to have visitors, hopefully. And so I would really like to do something about that. We have serious problems in my subdivision right now. It's very dangerous in my subdivision right now, actually. And so if we can do something about that, I think it's a simple fix now, I would like to see that.
Yeah.
And that would be the condition to Commissioner Zuber's motion for me to
That I
approve
haven't
it.
made yet?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I
You
think-
will, because you always do our motions to
know,
approve
Let's
it.
go ahead.
In
address it.
general, Pulte's been very cooperative and collaborative in all our
I'm in a
developments.
Pulte subdivision.
Okay, okay. And so when I say we'll look at it, we'll absolutely take a look at it and
Okay.
consider it.
It's good to know. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, in
Appreciate
several
that.
different places where, because I could see, you could even have a jog on Cranston at the south part there, where you got the walkway through there. You could do something in there that kind of makes a driver slow down instead of just a straight run through. Because I know what people are like when they have to leave in a hurry in the morning to go to work, while I'm walking my dogs. It's, yeah, exactly.
That's what,
right.
that was my
It's-
point.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think you're getting the idea here. This is a big feature, and I think it does need to be addressed. I guess I'll take my turn right now. I have a question about the paving of Mott. Now, is that paving only going to go from the entrance to this subdivision to Denton, or is it going to take go all the way to the end of what's not shown there, all the way to that end of the new development?
It would go from the entrance of the development eastward to Denton.
Okay, just the entrance, just that point, not the other part of Mott Road that fronts the development.
That's correct. The ordinance states that when it's over 1,000 trips, it would be from the entrance to the nearest road intersection, so they would meet the requirement.
Okay, but-
However, with the sidewalk will go along the
The
entire
sidewalk is
frontage.
required by ordinance there as well. Okay. The request to shorten the setback, the front yard setback from 25 to 20, could this development be done without doing that? You want to come up to the microphone, please?
Could this development be done without that? I think it's pretty imperative that we're able to shorten it by just 5 feet. The look and the feel won't be much different from that of the north, but it gives us the ability to have those larger open spaces in the back and gives us the ability to have the layout as you currently seen. So if you add 5 feet in addition to all that, what'll end up happening is it'll push out of the boundaries into the setbacks around the perimeter. So as it stands right now, the current layout is we probably would need that, going down to the 20 feet, still park a car there. There's more than 20 feet between the sidewalk and the front of the closest part of the unit. So I would say it's pretty imperative to have the 20 feet.
The driveways, because of that, it's going to change the length from the sidewalk up to the garage, right?
Correct, in
So
comparison to the north.
Will
yes.
they be able to park 2 cars in these driveways?
2 cars side by side, and
Side
there's
by
enough
side?
length. There's 21, 22 feet, and that's more than enough for a standard
Because
car depth, yeah.
you're condensing a lot of houses, which means that when people have guests, and you're only going to have parking on one side, I'm assuming, one side of the street? Those streets are not going to be wide enough for parking
Yeah, I
on
mean,
both
I
sides.
assume that it's only going to be parking on one side of the street.
Right, so that limits the amount of guest parking and parking for the homeowners, quite honestly.
There's 2 spaces in the garage for the homeowners, and then if you have guests, like double the amount of guests, 2 guests can park in the driveway side by side too,
Yeah.
in addition to parking one side of
We
the
know what
street,
happens
so.
in the garages, right? The cars
Storage.
stay outside, the junk stays inside. Anyway, okay, there's that. I think you mentioned, Patrick, the unit designs are the same or very similar to the north for this one?
Correct. This is an amendment to the Grandview Estates PD, And this is referred to as the Second Amendment to the Grandview Estates PD. The First Amendment to the Grandview Estates PD was a modification to the facade requirements. And so based on those three models, the 50% masonry requirement was lowered. I think it's at least 35% on any one of those models. And with the proposed development and the proposed amendment, it would be a continuation of that First Amendment. So the same facade masonry requirements would apply.
So we allowed for less than 50% on the first development, on the north development, right?
Correct.
But a minimum of 35?
That's correct.
Okay, so we're sticking with that, okay.
Yes.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, will there be a distinct difference if this is all done, that both developments are all done? Are you going to know that you're driving from one neighborhood to the other?
Identical product, the identical floor plans,
Okay.
same type of maintenance requirements and obligations, so it really should be a seamless transition.
Okay, that's what I was getting at there. Okay, I think that's pretty much all I had. Commissioner Zuber?
I agree about the straightaway. I live in Glengarry, and we actually had a young kid who had moved out with his parents and just got his license and came back to visit some friends and flipped his car on the boulevard several years ago. I'm not making that up. It's 25. You go really fast. And you drive something with a high center of gravity, but anyway, and you're inexperienced, whatever. But yeah. Other than that, I don't have any concerns other than things that people have already mentioned, so thank you.
Commissioner Graham-Hudak?
Yes, thank you. Let's start with traffic.
It's in the study.
We knew she was going to bring up
Yes, you do.
traffic.
So basically, I understand that you're saying we're probably going to increase more than 1,000 trips a day, and you're going to pave it. I mean, that's one thing, but you're still going to have a two-lane highway, correct?
Two lanes on Mott Road?
Yes, so, yes, we're going to pave Mott Road. That's what we're paving, or is it Bar Road?
Mott Road.
Mott Road, okay, yeah. So I know we're being offered to pave it, but you're still only going to be 2 lanes.
The proposed condition would be to pave it to Wayne County standards. The Wayne County, they have a rural cross-section standard, but because the Wayne County hasn't reviewed the paving proposal, we don't know what Wayne County's requirements will be. So our proposed condition is more general in nature to pave it from the development entrance to Denton Road pursuant to Wayne County standards.
So by Wayne County standards, that might mean a turn lane or an extra turning lane into the facility, rather than having people block the road by waiting to turn left, correct?
Yeah, their engineers would have to look at the development proposal and the proposal for the right-of-way permit and the paving, and they would have a standard for what would be required.
So is Pulte offering that then? If Wayne County says we want a turn lane and a light, I mean, you're going to widen it there also?
First, I'll say that we will absolutely comply with Wayne County standards, but we don't anticipate any of that based on the traffic study. But we will comply with Wayne County's standards.
Okay. Well, we are in Wayne County. We know that Wayne County standards aren't always the best. And so, especially with the traffic here, people coming in and out, that's what I'm concerned with also. So let's say they just say, okay, all you have to pave it. With the traffic that I'm hearing that is happening right now, I'm concerned that someone turning left really could back up the traffic there for a while. Do we know the times of day? Is it mostly just in the morning, or?
I'll kind of go back to the type of community, and that's sort of the nice thing about these active adult communities and these empty nester communities. There's a lot less trips associated with these types of communities as compared to a single-family conventional site. Not only that, but I'm not saying that everybody's a retiree, because there are some empty nesters that continue to work, but they generally travel at sort of off-peak hours. They don't always do the 8 a.m. rush hour, 5 p.m. rush hour. They travel at different times, these types of communities. So I think that helps the traffic situation.
Is there a clubhouse there for them?
No, much like Grandview North, we are paying for 2 memberships to the Summit on the Park for each home.
Okay. So you're just expecting it to be an older community. It's not going to be part of the bylaws that they have to.
You know, it's not, but I'll say, as I mentioned earlier, we've sold or signed up 116 homes out of 173 in the current Grandview, and it's dominated. It's predominantly empty nesters and retirees, and if there are any young couples, they don't have any children. There are virtually no, as far as I know, there are almost zero school-age children in the community. So, and not only are we seeing that in Grandview, but we have active adult communities that are non-age restricted all over southeastern Michigan, from Orion to Macomb to West Bloomfield, and we're getting these with exact same homes and plans, and we're getting empty nesters almost over 90% of the time, if not higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would this also be disabled? So because they're empty nesters, are you making doorways wider and things?
So
for
there
people
are
age?
some sensitivities for that. I'm not going to say it's ADA compliant, but we do have higher switches. We do offer certain planned features, certain home features that do cater to that empty nester demographic.
Okay, so because the units are so close together, if somebody were to want an ADA compliant, they'd have to be on the end or something like that, or how would you
Yeah,
do that?
I would have to take a look at it. I can't say for sure how that would actually work in reality, but I have to take a look at that. Yeah.
You're looking at people aging in place if they're
Sure.
buying it when they're later,
Sure.
later years, and it's hard. I know a lot of people in Canton sometimes have to move out because they can't find a facility where now they're wheelchair or walker bound, especially if you're looking at the older community. Okay, so, and in terms of the straightaway that everybody's talking about, just, there are also those, not speed bumps, but speed, what are they called? Where the, like rumble strips.
Oh, yeah.
Because I just took my daughter I'm teaching her to drive in an area, and it's rumble strips, and so it's not a bump actually, but just the sound of that, makes people slow down too, because you have to, that's something that tells you slow down, so maybe that's something we need to look at. Let's see, private roads, entrance, so is there a reason, so you had said you had found an earlier plan where there was another entrance, and that was on the older part or in the newer part where the fire department agreed to close that off?
This was a previous version of the plans for Grandview South. We've looked at the plans a couple times internally with the engineer and with the fire marshal, and throughout the review process, we've had some suggestions along the way in terms of the design, and a couple earlier versions of the plans had an additional entrance onto Bar Road. And so what we wanted to know was if we're at the point where there's going to be some paving on Mott, and with paved roads is going to draw more traffic, can we close the Bar Road so that by dispersing that traffic, everyone's using a paved road for the most part? And would there be any safety concerns? And because there's already a curb cut from Bar Road to the development, the fire department can access it that way, as well as there's Mapleton that goes out to Denton Road, and then there's a road that goes all the way up to Getty. So there's several points of access. It was just trying to keep traffic off of Bar Road, because that's a gravel road. I think with the development and the traffic study, the average daily trips would be somewhere in the 500s after the development, and the traffic study was based on the previous entrance shown at Bar Road. So it probably wouldn't have warranted any paving of Bar Road, but it would have nonetheless increased the traffic more on that road.
Our road is completely gravel, right?
That's right.
Even from the Grandview Estates north entrance, that's still gravel?
Yes.
Okay.
So you will be asked probably at the board in terms of sidewalks, that's a big one. So now that we're paving that, are you looking at where were the sidewalks? I heard mention of that.
There are sidewalks along the frontage of this development. So this development, it fronts both Bar Road and Mott Road, and there are sidewalks along both frontages, along both front lot lines throughout the course of the frontage. So there's no interruptions in the sidewalk along the
Yeah, it is shown graphically.
Yes, so
Yeah,
I can't
I
see it
can-
on this one, right? Oh, it's on the outside, okay. And where
Yeah.
there would be a berm between the sidewalk then and the back of a unit? How wide is that berm? So you see, oops.
Yeah, I'll bring up the
berm?
landscaping plans.
There's a berm along the public roads. It's a 50-foot landscape setback, so there'll be a berm in between there, and it'll be planted with landscaping when this kind of clears up.
Oh, that's cool, okay.
There's 50-foot landscape buffer in here. There's berm and landscape planting.
Oh, okay.
So one of the setback changes that you're asking for is that's going to decrease between the unit and the berm then, right? Decrease the distance by one of the setback adjustments that you're asking?
The setback that we're asking is as shown on there, the front setback you're talking about, right?
Yeah, and then I had read that also decreases the rear, correct? So you're
That was
moving.
on limited lots, wasn't it? Just on a few lots?
Yeah, I can point to those lots if you like to see, but no, for the most part, we're doing the 35-foot rear setback, which is standard to the north, and per ordinance, there's a couple select units where we're going down to 30, 6 units to be exact. One being this guy right here that we're requesting, and then there's 5 more on the very south side. As a function of the road alignment previously planned, so there's 6 units up here, or 5 units, I'm sorry, 6 total.
So where's the property that this young man was talking about, where his is on this map? Can we tell? So was there going to be a berm between the back of a unit and his property? What would that be, 50 feet?
There is not going to be a berm, just the berm's between the, there's going to be landscaping, but the berm is along the public roads. So
Okay.
not
So how wide would the landscaping strip be?
30 feet.
30 feet? And what is the hunting regulation? Yeah, is it 50 feet?
That's a good question. I don't know what the regulation is, because it wouldn't be anything that's in the zoning ordinance or any of the ordinances that we review in
I
planning.
think it's it's a larger distance from an occupied dwelling. Is that, okay.
That closes that down, doesn't it? All right, and I'm glad you talked about the bricks, so it's going to match, and also the transition, because I know some of the transitions that I've seen, when we add on, they don't match.
Yeah.
Glad this one is going to match. Okay, so I asked that. All right, I guess that's it for now. Were we going to,
Commissioner Acharya?
one of the conditions, though, we were looking at is the rumble strips? Is that what one of them was, or are we going to add that?
Well, I think that's going to be, we're going to look at some design, maybe some design
Been
jogging.
open to staff.
The thing that and I'm not an expert on this, thing that I would wonder about with rumble strips or, speed bumps or anything on the ground like that is that it plays havoc with snow removal and other road features. That might do the job in terms of slowing people down, but in the long run, I don't know if that's the right solution. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we just defer that back to staff to figure out what the best
Staff and
way
project
it is. We're not the
people. Yeah.
engineers, yeah. We would
Commis-
appreciate if you would work with them on that. Okay.
Commissioner Acharya?
I agree with the straightaway, the need for a straightaway, and I think that should be considered with the staff. But I fundamentally have one question, and the question is for Patrick, is that why are we considering this as an amendment to the Grandview Estate rather than an independent proposal? What's the benefit, or why? Because they're different products. The HOA might or might not be the same, and we've gone through the whole process, and the traffic study is being made separately for this entire proposal. So why is it an amendment to the original one?
Sometimes that's different, a different way of going about depending on different developments. For example, sometimes there's one PDD, but there may be several phases. And within a single PDD, without any amendments, there's more than one association just based on the products and the geography and things like that. And if this were a separate developer or a separate product, it would probably make sense to have 2 PDDs because they're 2 distinctly different developments, 2 different models, 2 different developers, things like that. I think what makes this beneficial for an amendment is that Pulte did the north, and so they also want to do the south, so we're talking about the same builder, same developer, and they're offering the same product. is the detached single-family units. The only difference really in the product is on the north, they're individual lots, whereas here, the outdoors is the general common areas. And so it functions more of an extension of an existing development than it does a standalone development, even though they have to cross-connect and that sort of thing, because the product looks the same and a lot of the terms are the same. They want to build it the same with a few differences in the types of setbacks that they have, that it made sense to the applicant to have it as an amendment and continue with the same terms and conditions as the original PDD.
Okay. Given that, if there's an amendment to the setback over here for a couple of homes that we're talking about, would that be applicable to the entire Grandview PDD or just for the southern part?
It would be applicable to just those units. And what we've worked with the applicant on doing is those specific units are called out both on the plan and the PDD agreement. So I'm not sure if this page would show it, but on the other pages, it specifically shows that for those units where there's a reduced rear yard setback, that's actually illustrated on the plans. And then there's a note on the plan that calls out those units. And then finally, in the legal PDD agreement itself, those units are specifically called out by number so that the plans, the text, and the PDD agreement are all consistent in terms of which units have relief from that rear yard setback requirement.
Thank you. Thanks. That'll be all from me.
Good. One quick question. We were talking about a couple streets being changed. There's one street name that I noticed here that I have a question on. Lewiston. Can I ask the origin of how that became named Lewiston? I think I know, but go ahead.
I'll have to be honest with you, I have no idea. Do you know? If you're thinking about Dick Lewiston?
Yes.
Yeah, I personally, I didn't name the street. I didn't approve the naming of the streets.
No, I think it'd be appropriate that it would be named after him
yeah,
because he was very instrumental
Sure.
Way back with this area of the township
Yeah.
using more product that was kind of age-oriented.
Yeah.
He wanted that. He felt that there was a need there that Canton was lacking. And he wanted this. So I just wondered if that was something that was there historically. But I have a lot of respect for Dick Lewiston.
Yeah, I think, I may be wrong, but I think that pre-recession, he may have had involvement with this parcel and the planned development.
Okay.
But I can't say for sure.
Okay,
For sure.
all right,
Yeah.
I was just curious.
I think we should name every street Franklin, like in Southfield, so you can't figure out which Franklin you're supposed to be on.
What about Peachtree?
Oh, that's nice, too. Are you going to make a motion?
I can.
One more, can I ask one question?
Oh,
Real
sure.
quick.
So just for the modifications, it's just the front and rear yard setbacks, right? And then the brick reduction? Is that all of them? Those are the only modifications we're looking at?
No,
In the
and
motion?
straight away.
Oh, in the straightaway.
Yep.
Yeah, the motion actually, the model motion just says the conditions and recommendations above,
Yeah, we have to add.
which I'll
You
add
have-
the
probably have to
straightaway.
add the straightaway.
I'll
'cause-
add the straightaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, the others
And
are
if I
already
don't
contained.
add it sufficiently, you guys feel free to correct me.
But we're on record because Pulte has agreed to work with
Yes.
staff. Thank you.
And ultimately, this will be something that we'll talk with the engineering division about because they would be the ones that would be qualified to comment on alignments and road condition and traffic calming.
Yep.
And I'd like it to, maybe something for a future study on this board's part, to look at distances of residential streets. Because I think, with this, comes to mind maybe standard of total distance maximum of straightaway of any residential street. I can see where that could be very useful in development going forward, and something that we may want to look at in terms of changing some of our ordinances. Anyway, so,
So, I'd like to make a motion. I move to recommend approval of the planned development district amendment for Grandview South located on said tax parcels as provided in the planned development agreement and plan documents, subject to all of the conditions and recommendations above. In addition, we would like to have the straightaway issue on Cromwell, is that Cromwell? I'm sorry. The street, the South Street.
Name the streets,
Yeah.
or?
Okay, Cranston. I think Bingham seemed like it wasn't as bad of a problem, but, and then, okay, sorry. And then further, I move to recommend approval of the preliminary site plan for Grandview South, which includes 222 single-family units on 76.59 net acres, as proposed, subject to the conditions of PDD amendment approval and all of the conditions and recommendations above, including the straightaway issue.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Zuber and support by Commissioner Eggenberger. I have a question. Should that motion, that additional motion about the straightaway be on, I guess, I don't know if it doesn't matter, should it be on the second part or the first part? You included it on the first part.
I included it on both. I actually
Probably
included it
doesn't
on
matter,
both.
since we're actually incorporating all of it.
Yeah,
It's a site plan issue. That's what I'm getting at.
yeah, as a PDD issue, it becomes a little tricky because sometimes during the PDD process, the layout of the plan changes. And it's not until final site plan review when that layout is finalized. So the PDD may give you number of units, schedule modifications, conditions, et cetera. But then once you actually get to the site plan and you're doing more engineering, it's at that point where you get into some of those details like traffic calming and that minutia of engineering. So it may be better to have that as a site plan condition
issue.
instead of
So
a
just strike it
PDD
from the-
condition.
Okay,
Because then
so
we get into
strike
the
it from the
PDD agreement
first.
with what it actually means.
So she's going to amend her motion.
Yeah. I mean, I had it at the end of both of those paragraphs, but we can take it off the end of the PDD paragraph.
Well,
That's fine.
however, what's that?
She supports that offer.
I'm in on that one also, support.
So we don't really need to change it again.
No.
It's there both ways. All right, so we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Zuber and support by Commissioner Eggenberger. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Commissioner Zuber, would you call the vote?
Certainly. Commissioner Bennett?
Yes.
Commissioner Eggenberger?
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Acharya?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham-Hudek?
Yes.
Commissioner Zuber, yes, and Chairman Green.
Yes.
Right.
So next step for them would be the Township Board
The Township Board
process? Okay,
for both the PDD amendment and preliminary site plan.
probably within the month, maybe next month?
Probably. With the plans that were submitted last week, they had addressed many of the items that were in our letter. Obviously, with the traffic calming, I think that might be something where final site plan review or something with the engineering department, we would have to look at.
All right, well, good luck to you. All right,
Yeah.
thank you. Our next agenda, our second agenda item of the night, I'll give them a couple of minutes here.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Good night. That traffic study, though, woo,
That's involved.
that was some traffic study.
Our second agenda item is the Michigan Fireworks Company LLC. The property is located north of Ford and west of Sheldon. Patrick, could you tell us more about that seasonal sales permit?
Yes, absolutely. Michigan Fireworks Company has applied for one 30-day seasonal sales permit for a fireworks tent in the parking lot at Canton Landing near O'Reilly Auto Parts. And this is located on the north side of Ford Road between Canton Center and Sheldon. The requested permit period is from June 18th, 2020 through July 6th, 2020. And we just have the following two findings in our review letter. First is that the permits will be required from the Building Services Division for the placement of the tent. Also, any signage would have to be reviewed by the Building Department. No temporary signs can be placed in the landscape berm on Ford Road. And the second finding in our letter is that the 30-day period commences once the tent is put up, and the items must be removed at the end of the time period. So this is a site that's had a fireworks tent several times. The proposal is the same as previous years. The analysis is mostly the same. So our recommendation is to approve one 30-day seasonal sales permit for the Michigan Fireworks Company. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, do we have a sponsor?
Same as past years, just at your request, we said, I was talking to Jeff earlier in the season, just to make sure that the landlord was compliant. If you remember 2 or 3 years ago, he wasn't, and I panicked greatly, and we didn't know about it. We figured out what happened. Jeff sent us a, hey, we're good in the email, but the letter said compliant based on him. But we've checked with Jeff, everything's good, and just like last year, no issues. We're there for much shorter than 30 days, and we make sure everything's clean, and actually the Canton Police is always around there to talk and ask for safety tips and stuff like that. So we try to be a good footprint in the community. I know that fireworks isn't everyone's favorite, and we try to respect that.
Any particular reason to do this so far in advance?
Yeah, if you remember, my big reason for being upset that one year that I have to order fireworks next week. About $50,000 worth of
You had
fireworks.
ordered fireworks, and then you had the issue with the owner, and you were going to be out a lot.
A lot of money,
Dinero.
yeah. We didn't, because we
Right.
didn't know.
I do
and-
remember that.
And so now we started, last year we talked with Jeff and we just said, why don't we just get this out of the way now?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason. Everything's the same, we don't change anything. We actually helped the building guy with the signs across the street. He asked,
Yeah.
can we grab them?
Okay, all right, yeah, it was just, when I first saw this on our packet, I thought it was a typo. Because
it's so-
we do these things like maybe months in advance, not this far in advance, but it's okay.
And when fireworks get delivered, it's usually January when it's snowing out, so it's just such a goofy industry. I'd rather sell shoes or something, but this is what works.
Anything else from the commission? It's pretty straightforward, we've done it before. Yes,
So where do you keep the fireworks then, when they come in the winter?
So I have a main store in South Lyon, and so everything gets stored there. It's not an easy industry to use. Actually, as I was telling Patrick, I haven't met before, is the margins are getting lower and lower, and realistically, one of the reasons we keep it is the Canton community is actually so positive on it, and we keep 2 Canton teachers employed there for the whole summer. They only have to work 2.5 weeks, so.
What other cities are you in then?
So we're only down to 2. We're in Plymouth, 3 technically. South Lyon's our main store. We're closed now for the season, but we keep that open. And then we have another teacher that runs the one over on Fox. It's in Fox Hill Market by Fox, what's that golf course? It's on North Territorial in Plymouth. Right off of M14 in Godfredson. So.
anything else from the commission?
No, nothing, good.
Do I hear a motion?
I do, you do.
Okay.
You will. I move to approve one 30-day seasonal sales permit for the Michigan Fireworks Company on parcel number 039-99-0025-001, commencing on June 18th, 2020, subject to obtaining appropriate permits from building for erection of the tent and compliance with all sign compliance with all sign regulations.
Support.
All right, got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Zuber and support by Commissioner Eggenberger. Any further discussion on this motion? All in favor say, oh, never mind. Commissioner Zuber, would you call the vote, please?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask.
Yes.
Commissioner Bennett,
Lost my
Yes.
mind.
Commissioner Eggenberger,
Yes.
Commissioner Perkins, Commissioner Acharya,
Yes.
Commissioner Graham Hudek,
Yes.
Commissioner Zuber, yes, and Chairman Green.
Yes. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
All right, we've got some business to send to staff. First Watch, all-day expansion, Man's Lumber Building Edition, Arbor Glen, LA Fitness.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, yep. The staff is going to be busy.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to send that to staff?
So moved.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Zuber and support by Commissioner Eggenberger. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and then we also have a public hearing for October 7th, consisting of the Arbor Glen Final PDD, the Canton Banquet and Convention Center, and Culver's Restaurant. Do I hear a motion to set that public hearing?
Well, after I go on record as saying how excited I am about Culver's coming to Canton, I will move.
Good ice cream.
Yes, Commissioner Bennett is too. Maybe we'll have our meeting at Culver's?
Yes, I think that would be awesome. We have
Wow.
to check the schedule for what flavors they'll have that night, though.
An endorsement or
Peanut
what?
butter. That's right.
I want to make a motion to set the public hearing for October 7th for those 3 items you just described.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Zuber to set the October 7th public hearing, and support by Commissioner Bennett. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, anything else from the commission? Anything?
Culver's might want to
About-
bring some samples to the next meeting, just saying.
Yeah, we get samples of roof tiles and stuff.
Right, I
bricks.
mean,
Hey,
Ice cream.
Patrick, can you tell us what happened to the rest of that development on Ford Road where, by the daycare? Because it was, in my mind, going to be a retail, not retail, but fast food and some other things going on to the west of
Across from Bell
the
Tire.
daycare.
West of Canton Center?
Yeah, it was delayed a lot because they had to do that bridge over the creek there. Yeah, the troubled waters, yeah.
we should sing about that.
And, but I thought, okay, once that's settled and once that's done, they would go on. Do you have any idea what happened there?
I haven't heard anything recently, and since I've been with the
Daycare,
township, I
obviously,
haven't heard anything.
I see cars there all the time, so I know that's going full tilt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll ask around and see.
And any interest in that Rite Aid property?
Yes, actually, there was a certificate of zoning compliance that was submitted a couple weeks ago, and it's for an AutoZone. So AutoZone is proposing to occupy it. So they'll have some modifications coming up to the building.
Oh,
but
exciting.
we have an O'Reilly, we have an Advanced Auto Parts, so.
And
Another IKEA?
I
Well,
noticed-
Michigan Avenue?
I noticed that there's been some activity at that old bank at Sheldon and Michigan Avenue, the old former PNC Bank. I noticed that they've cleaned out a lot. There's been a dumpster and there's been lights on in there. Is there anything going on there?
Sheldon
'Cause
and Michigan Avenue.
it's zoned office
Like
and you
Getty's,
can't.
where Getty's and Sheldon and.
Yeah, where they all converge, Getty,
Oh,
Sheldon,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Michigan
yeah.
Avenue? Yeah.
I'll take a look. There's nothing jogging my memory right
No?
now, but I'll look at
Yeah,
that
there's been
property and see
activity there,
what's
so I was
going
just
on.
wondering what's going on
Any
there.
word on Smoothie King?
I heard they were moving.
Tropical Smoothie or Smoothie
No,
King?
Smoothie King.
I have not heard anything. That's the one on the north side of
Yeah,
Ford.
yeah.
I have not heard anything recent on that.
Just an FYI for the commission, the board and the DDA are going to meet with MDOT, believe it or not, to have further discussion on plans for the Ford Road Boulevard.
Does
So-
Commissioner Graham Hudet know that?
I believe she
So
probably
she's all over
does.
that.
Probably does.
I'm thinking ice cream still, what?
The trustees and the DDA are going to meet with MDOT to do further discussing of needs of the boulevarding of Ford Road.
Yeah, they're in engineering right now. It's still, I don't know if there's no date for that yet.
Yeah, it hasn't been finalized yet, but just letting everybody
Boulevard
know
is
that
now a
that's
verb.
part, what's that?
Boulevard is now a verb. A verb according to you.
Dawn?
For
What?
boulevarding.
You know, you're just as capable of adjourning a meeting as I am.
Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.